Joining us right now on the show, two T's. Someone I've known for like 20 years at this point now. We are old. The star of SiriusXM NBA Radio, host of NBA Today, 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, along with the great Eddie Johnson, my friend Justin Termine on Twitter at Termine Radio. On Instagram as well, we can get into that. JT, welcome to the show. How's it going, my friend?
Thanks for having me. Now, these cadaver kid, what's the name of these twins here that you're trying to hook me up with? Because I'm not sure. Listen, it's been a while since I've even had one. You're asking me to handle twins? That might be a stretch, Kostos.
Well, the cadaver twins, that would mean that they are dead. So thankfully that these two twins are alive and they are young. So it's the they were like, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the chat, because I'm a little old. They are former University of Miami volleyball players, right? I think that's, or basketball players, excuse me. That went viral because they're beautiful. One dated Carson Beck, another's engaged to, I think, another athlete maybe. Let me know in the chat, guys. So this is like, JT, this is like very attractive blonde twins in their early 20s. That sounds like it could potentially be your speed.
Oh, well, I mean, it's my speed. The issue is that I'm not their speed. I would go out on a limb and say Kostos.
So tell us about, before we get into hoops, and JT's an absolute hoop savant, and you have been since I've known you. Take us into JT's personal life a little bit. Justin Termine lives out in Los Angeles. You're from the Northeast originally. Why does JT have trouble with the ladies? You shouldn't, with the personality you've got.
Well, Kostos, first of all, he's no longer on the West Coast. He's moved back to the East Coast, which was
When did that happen? When did you move back?
On the beach for about 5 years, okay? And I'm enjoying the life, the weather, the young ladies out there. Then I said, you know what, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to go back to Boston to be closer to my family. And plus I had run through all the girls out in LA, so it's like one after another. Here. So I come out to Boston, and what happens as soon as I get out here? We get hit with one of the worst winters in the history of mankind. So I've been absolutely miserable. I've been holed up in my apartment, and I don't even like going outside anymore.
Oh, but JT back in Boston, absolutely love that. Back on the East Coast, our friend Justin Termine, again, at Termine Radio on Twitter, NBA Today, SiriusXM NBA Radio, 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, let's talk some hoops. Got a lot to run by you here. So in the last segment, I gave some of my thoughts off the weekend. Let's start with the Knicks win over the Spurs. And I'm a lifelong Knicks fan. You're a lifelong Celtics fan. I really want to feel good, JT, about my Knicks getting back to the NBA Finals. And that was my prediction before the season. I said it during the All-Star break. And the loss to the Pistons and the loss to the Cavs. And I'm liking your Celtics right now. I want to feel good about the win yesterday over the Spurs. They're just so damn inconsistent. And I can't get to a spot, at least right now, where I feel good about the Knicks. Your opinion, JT, of the Knicks win over the Spurs yesterday is what and why?
Well, I mean, it was one of the more dominating performances we've seen all season long against a good team. They held them to 89 points. And that's the funny part, because you watch the Knicks, and I don't think it says the same thing that the numbers say. You look at the last 15 games, they got the best defense in the entire NBA. They play good competition really well. I think against the top 5 teams in either conference. They're 15-7 against them this year. But then you watch the games and you hear the rhetoric, and it doesn't quite add up, because my concerns are, even though they've had the best defense in the league over the last 15 games, is how you're supposed to win when you have Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson as your 2 top players, and neither one of them defends at a high level. Kostos, you look at my Celtics and the Oklahoma City Thunder, the last 2 teams to win the championship, every single person in their rotation can defend at a high level. They don't have one guy that you can pick on. Meanwhile, the Knicks, almost at all times on the floor, are going to have 2 guys that you can pick on in Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. So that's one issue I've had with them all season long. And then the second one is Towns' role within the offense. I mean, it's one thing to understand that, hey, he's not getting enough shots, he's not involved enough, but then the head coach comes out and he says, all right, he should be taking the second most shots on the entire team. And immediately after he says that, he takes 5, 13, and 9 shots in the 3 preceding games. It's like, okay, well, are they listening to the coach? And who do you want to pin that on? Do you want to pin it on Mike Brown for not involving him enough in the offense? Jalen Brunson for not involving him enough as the point guard? Or Karl-Anthony Towns for not being aggressive enough? So I think those are 2 issues I'd be concerned about heading into the postseason.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth, JT, but it sounds like you maybe don't like the Knicks to win the Eastern Conference. While acknowledging they have the upside to get there potentially, maybe that wouldn't be your pick. I'm so impressed with your Celtics and Jalen Brown and Joe Mazzulla and and Cade last night and what they've done this season. And like Jason Tatum's coming back, right? Like that's going to happen. And I don't like James Harden, just his playoff record, obviously, with the Cavs. Yeah. And I think the Pistons might be a little early on their trajectory here. Water gun to my head right now, I might pick your Celtics to represent the East in the NBA Finals. Where are you at on your Celtics? And if you had to pick a Eastern Conference champion right now, would it be the Celtics or not, and why?
I would go with the Cavaliers, and that's problematic because you're trusting James Harden. But I'll say this: is I think this is the second best team he's ever played for. I think the best team that he ever played for was that 2017 Rockets team, where Chris Paul eventually got hurt. They were up 3-2. They ended up losing the next two games to Golden State. So I think this is his second best team, but I think it's his best opportunity to get to the NBA Finals because, of course, then he had to go through a historic Golden State team. You don't have to go through a historic team in the Eastern Conference. And secondly, I also think he's such a big upgrade from Darius Garland. That was already a really good team, was starting to turn it around. Darius Garland never played, and Darius Garland's postseason resume is somehow even worse than James Harden. So that's why I'm going with Cleveland here in the Eastern Conference. The concern about my Celtics, Kostos, is, and this is a compliment to Joe Mazzulla and what they've done here during the regular season, is they just play harder than everybody else. And I think that's also the case with Phoenix. What's going to happen once you get to the postseason and everybody starts playing just as hard? I think then you'll run into some issues. And Jalen Brown's been very good this season. I actually give Joe Mazzulla more credit for what the team is doing than Jalen Brown. I wouldn't have Jalen Brown in my top 5 in the MVP voting. I think that he lacks efficiency, even though he says he's the best two-way defender in the entire sport. I think he picks and chooses when he's going to be locked in defensively. Big game, he's locked in. Sometimes he floats against, say, the Chicago Bulls of the world. But that would be my main concern with the Celtics, is they try so hard during the regular season. You're going to win games just by default that way. I think that could be an issue once you get to the postseason. Everybody else ups their game. I'm going with Cleveland in the East.
Just as an aside, because I think that this will actually be something that a lot of people bring up as we head into the NBA playoffs. And we had a couple weeks on the show, my pal Danny Parkins from First Things First on Fox Sports 1, he made the case for the Cavs as well. And what he said about James Harden specifically and the playoff failures, he brought up that series, right, that famous series against the Golden State Warriors when Chris Paul gets hurt and the Warriors end up winning en route to an NBA championship. I'm kind of the opinion that the Warriors would have won that series anyway. He thinks that the Rockets would have won that series if they were fully healthy. Where does JT stand on that? If the Rockets are fully healthy in 17, do they beat the Golden State Warriors? And then presumably they would beat the Cavs in the NBA Finals, maybe? Tell us about that if we want to relitigate 2017.
Yeah, I don't think that you could trust James Harden in any big spot. And again, that's odd because I'm picking him to come out. And you would still have to go, I think, with Golden State, Clay, and Steph. And I think Durant was hurt during parts of that series as well. But I would go still with Golden State in order to win that series. But I do think that was the best team that Harden ever played on. And again, in this situation, he doesn't have to be the best player. In that series, he had to be the best player because I still think that he was better than Chris Paul. Here, I think it's clearly Donovan Mitchell. And I said a couple of minutes ago that I didn't think that Jalen Brown was top 5 in the MVP race, even though he's ahead of Donovan Mitchell in the odds. I think Mitchell's having the better season. I would have Donovan Mitchell ahead of Jalen Brown. I think he's been one of the 5 best players in the sport this year.
What about Cade Cunningham in terms of that and the Detroit Pistons overall heading into the playoffs? Well, likely to have home court advantage in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, Cade on the MVP front, I'll say this, is he had a 5 of 26 game the other day in a big game, I believe, against San Antonio, and Steph Castle, just amazing defense. How many times, what would happen if Jokic or SGA went 5 of 26? It would immediately cross them off the list from being capable of winning the MVP. You just don't see that type of performance from an MVP level guy, and his efficiency, I think, is a little bit inferior. Now, I would still have him in my top 4. Right now, I would put him 4th behind Jokic, SGA, and Wembanyama. So I don't think he's a legitimate MVP candidate in regards to winning the award. Top 5 guy, yes. And then you're right with the lack of experience that Detroit has. And this goes for San Antonio as well. When's the last time you can ever remember a team that didn't win a playoff series? In Detroit's case, they get to at least the first round. San Antonio Antonio's never even played in the postseason series, and then all of a sudden they get to the NBA Finals and they win the championship. The only example last 25 years I can think of is the Celtics, my Celtics in 2007 and 2008, but that wasn't the same team. They added Ray Allen, they added KG, a bunch of veterans. In this case, it's been essentially the same team in both San Antonio and Detroit, and now you're asking them to go from never even winning a postseason series in Detroit's case and never even getting to the playoffs in San Antonio's case, then win 3 or 4 rounds. I just don't see that happening, especially for both of them.
And obviously, Paul Pierce, I know you know this, but Paul Pierce had won. I've been to a couple Eastern Conference finals earlier in that decade with the Celtics as well, and he was won finals MVP when the Celtics beat the Lakers in 2008. You bet on this Monday, Westwood One Sports. Nick Kostos joined by my friend, the great Justin Termine, who's very handsome for people watching on video. What's the Instagram in case any women listening would like to slide into JT's DMs?
Well, the Instagram is different than the Twitter. So the Twitter is at Termine Radio. Then we had an incident where I got hacked a couple of years ago. So Termine had to switch it up. Now, Termine NBA over there on Instagram. You can see some moving pictures as well as the still ones as well.
Because by moving pictures, JT is referring to videos. I want to get your panic meter right now on Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. Like, lose on Friday to OKC, lose yesterday to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I said in the last segment, JT, that I'm kind of like, if they're a stock right now, like, okay, maybe a lot of people are selling, but there's something going on underneath the hood that I think is going to get fixed in short order. Aaron Gordon come back, Peyton Watson comes back. I'm not out on the Denver Nuggets yet, even if I think OKC is going to win the West. What is JT's panic meter right now on the Denver Nuggets?
Well, I mean, if this is what we're going to get with the lack of health to Peyton Watson and Aaron Gordon, then they're in trouble because they need both of those guys defensively. This is a putrid defensive team. I think they're ranked 21st in the entire NBA. Everybody else in the bottom 10 is a lottery team, and some of them intentionally trying to lose outside of the Lakers, who were also grotesque defensively. The issue is the Lakers can't fix what they have defensively because they have nobody to bring in. The Nuggets are going to add their 2 best defenders, you would hope, if healthy, and Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson. I think you could make the argument those guys are even more important than Jamal Murray because Jokic can make your offense look good, even if he's playing with me and you, Nicholas. But they need defense, and nobody on that team right now can defend. So I think the most important body part in the entire NBA is the leg of Aaron Gordon. If that gets healthy, then they have the ability to beat anybody. Because to me, they have the best player in the sport by a significant margin in Jokic. I think he's one of the 10 best players of all time, and I think you can make the case he's the greatest offensive player to ever pick up a basketball.
JT, I asked this question tongue firmly in cheek.
Yeah.
Was Nico Harrison right about Luka Doncic?
No, he was not right about. Listen, I mean, he was right in that he has some flaws. He was not right in that he traded this guy for a guy that's never helped.
He's getting killed right now, JT, and you got videos of him yelling at Jay. Yeah, go ahead on Luka. Yeah,
I mean, Luka doesn't play any defense. He doesn't get back. He doesn't put in that type of effort. But he's still a historically great offensive player. The issue with the Lakers right now is they're not built for him. Like, Nico actually did a fantastic job in 2024 where he got shooters, he got lob threats, he got defenders, surrounded Luka with that. So I think Luka can still be a winning player, but you can't do it with Austin Reaves, who doesn't defend anybody. You can't do it with LeBron James, who doesn't defend anybody. You can't do it with DeAndre Ayton, who's a lazy center who doesn't defend anybody. You need a lob threat for him. That's why the Clint Capella thing was so funny. Clint Capella be perfect, a prime Clint Capella, be perfect for Luka Doncic. And then again, you don't need anybody as good as Austin Reaves or LeBron offensively around him. You just need guys that can defend around him and hit open shots. So I think the roster construction there in LA is an absolute disaster. So has Luka been disappointing this year? Yes. Has he been so disappointing that you can say that Nico Harrison all of a sudden is Red Auerbach instead of David Kahn? No, you can't go back.
I love that, man. I love that. Now, assuming health for the opposition, for the Lakers in the first round, like that team is healthy, the team that they're playing against, what is the percent chance that the LA Lakers win the first round playoff series in a best of 7?
I mean, I would say about 10% because who are they going to match up with?
Okay. I would take the 1 out of that answer.
Oh, 0. So you're going down to 0%. Wow.
Who are they beating?
Well, I mean, if they get matched up with Houston, Houston's late game offense is just absolutely atrocious. They have no point guard to create. Their head coach, his idea of an adjustment is just to tell his own players that they're soft and a bunch of cowards, and another word that I won't use here on your show. That's the only Udoka adjust. Like, I think the guy is significantly overrated. We're talking about my Celtics. I think the best thing to ever happen to him is that he couldn't, stay faithful to his companion there. And we got Joe Mazzulla instead of Ime Udoka. So I think that is a team that they could beat in the first round. I don't think the Lakers could beat Denver, San Antonio, or OKC in the first round, however.
10 seconds to go. Give us a JT take on the NBA that we have not yet heard yet in this interview.
Oh, my God. You're putting me on the spot here.
Yes.
I'll say that the media is, completely lost their mind. Jokic should easily be the front runner for the MVP, and I can't believe that SGA is going to get it 2 years in a row. If you put, Donovan Mitchell, he'd be doing the same thing, in my estimation, as SGA if he was surrounded by that team down in OKC.
At Termine NBA for all the ladies listening on Instagram, my friend, I appreciate you.
And I look better in person, I promise you.
Yeah, you look really good right now. I don't know if that's true.